What does my favorite Hungarian saying, breaking the law blatantly, and picking a wine for a garden party this summer have to do with each other? Well, almost certainly nothing, but I'm creative enough that by the end of this video, I'll bet I'll be able to weave them together in the art of storytelling. So let's start. So what is my favorite Hungarian saying? If you ask anyone, they're gonna say that it's my favorite tram stop, but no, I just like the way that sounds. By the way, that's Harmens Ketesek. Hilarious. I live down the road from it, but it rolls off the tongue. The beauty of this language. My favorite saying is Kiskapu, which means the little gate. It's a Hungarian way of saying loophole. And if you meet any Hungarian and you say that to them, they know exactly what you're talking about. Now, let's talk about picking a wine for a party. I'm going to keep this concise. We can make an hour-long video about how to pick wine, but I'm going to give you a few scenarios, and then you can go with the one that sounds like you. I think you should decide when you're going to a party, what kind of person do you want to be at the party, okay? Now, if you don't care how you look and you just want to drink great wine at a party, I've got one for you. If you want to look like the greatest party guest of all time and you're more about giving everyone else a good time, I've got you. If you want to be somewhere in between, we can do that as well, okay? So let's say you're, I don't want to say incredibly selfish, but let's say you really just don't give a shit about anyone else when you go to a party. So you get, by the way, I'm not sure how you get invited to parties if that's how you are, but you know, that's your prerogative. So you get invited to a party and they say, we're going to bring some wine, okay? Now, if you don't know what to do, honestly, step one, ask the person who's throwing the party, can I bring you anything? But not if you're selfish, because you only care about yourself. So you're the selfish person, you've been invited to a party and you want to drink really, really well. Here is the bare minimum, 2 bottles. 2 bottles, okay? Now, why 2 bottles? Well, you're going to go to the grocery store and you're going to get something that is very aromatic. So we're thinking Irschai Oliver or Sauvignon Blanc, okay? And I don't care who makes it, get the cheapest bottle you can and you're going to bring that to the party. Number 2, bring your favorite wine, okay? When you go to the party, hey, thanks for inviting me, really good time. No problem, lovely to have you. Don't know why we invited him, he's rude. But anyways, you get to the party and you have your 2 wines. You take your aromatic Irschai Oliver Sauvignon Blanc, you put it on the table where everyone else can drink, and you walk away and get your glass. As everyone is like fiending on the table of for everybody wine, you have in your bag your own wine. Now this you don't share with anyone else unless you want to. So is this a rude way of living? No. I've gone to parties where I've done this because I knew almost nobody at the party except who hosted it. And let's be honest, when you own a wine bar and you go to a party, people expect you to bring good wine for them to drink. And if people don't know anything about wine, they're going to a grocery store and picking the one that is not the cheapest, but not the most expensive, and a grape they've maybe heard of before, which doesn't bode well for someone like me wanting to drink it, and maybe not you either. So I've done this before, and I don't feel bad about it. Oh man, does that make me the rude guy, selfish guy? Maybe, but either way, I know that when I went there, I was very gracious, everyone had a good time, and I also had the wine that I wanted. And you know what, if you feel bad because you've got your own bottle, just pour it for other people. I still do this trick. Okay, now you want to look like the greatest guest of all time. You're the guy or the gal. It's important that other people at the party see you and go, oh, he's here, what did he bring? And also, you want to drink, okay? So if you want to look amazing, ask your friends, hey, what kind of party is it? Who's coming? And how much should I bring? If you want to over-prepare, always bring more than you're expected to. But step 1 is gift for the host. Now, if it's a summer party, I love to give people bottles of sparkling wine. No, it doesn't have to be champagne. It doesn't have to be a 50-euro bottle of wine. You can get them a basic, in Hungary, habzobor, which is a bubble wine. But I tend to get something in the like 15 to 20 euro method traditional. So it'll have a cork and a cage on the top. If it has one of those, it looks a little bit nicer, but also it's probably method traditional, which is the champagne style of making wine. In Hungary, we call it pezsgő. If you get a screw cap, it's probably going to be a habzobor, which is a basic tank Prosecco bubble wine. Nothing wrong. Pick your poison, but if you want to look good, you're not even going to drink it, pick the one with the cage. It always looks a little nicer. And do not buy it from the grocery store. Everyone has access to the grocery store. Go to a wine shop. People who know wine go to wine shops, or they go right to the cellar door. But if everyone in the party is going to have a grocery store wine because they're lazy and they don't know what to do and they don't want to spend too much money, just go one step up, which means a dedicated wine store, and say, here's my budget, and then pick whatever they want. Okay? Step number 2, after you've given the gift, I still think you go with the original playbook, which is we bring an aromatic white wine, or a couple, depends on how big the party is, and we put them out. So, Irschai Olivier might be out because it's grocery store wine. Sauvignon Blanc will be in. And what I would say is, if you want to get fancy, you can bring a few so people can have choices. I mean, this is like crazy. No one has to do this. But if you're really like, I don't have any friends, I want to show off. Not that you'll make friends this way, but people will remember you. You can bring one New Zealand style Sauvignon Blanc and one French style. Now, what does that mean? So the French created Sauvignon Blanc. It's in the name, obviously. But what they do, their style tends to smell very grassy, slightly herbaceous. Even some people say cat piss, but that's rude, and we're not going to be rude. Now, the Marlborough New Zealand style, it's tropical. It's passion fruit. This is the one everyone's yamming on about all the time. There isn't anyone who doesn't like that unless they're serious about wine, because they've done it, they've been there. This is like your everybody wine. It's so cheerful and wonderful. It screams summer. It's basically like if you captured sunshine and laughing in a bottle. And if someone doesn't like it, they're that miserable friend. They can still be your friend, but they're miserable. Like, talk to them about something that's not fun and the effervescence of life. I would take one of each if you really want to impress. And that way you have something to say. If someone's like, ooh, what do we have here? They don't know. So they're asking you to tell them and say, hey, if you like grassy, jump out of the glass, go with the classic French one. But if you like tropical stuff, Sheila, go for the Marlborough New Zealand one. Either way, the people are going to love you. It's going to be great. Always bring a bag. I have a bag called the Stanley Fat Max, which I'm going to make a video about. How a tool bag changed my life. That's probably going to be the hook. Anyways, I always bring the Stanley Fat Max because I can fit 12 bottles in that baby and not even break a sweat on my bike. Now, I don't bring 12 bottles to a party because that's savagery and I'm not made out of money, but I will bring more than just the 2. Number 1, sparkling for the host, 2 white wines for the table if I want to go all the way. If not, 1 is fine. Marlborough New Zealand probably being the better one to choose. After that, I'm starting to think about me and the people at the party I'm going to spend time with, because that's who I'm going to share wine with. And it stays in the Stanley Fat Max, or it goes in the fridge, because if I'm good enough friends with the person who's hosting the party, I can say, can I put a few bottles of wine in the fridge till they're cold? And they're always going to say yeah. So I'll usually pick like something incredibly minerally for me and for discerning wine drinkers. So I'm thinking Badachoin, Olas Riesling, I'm thinking Tokaj Furmint or Harsh Levelu, or I'm thinking Shomlo, anything, but that's super niche. You got to really know who's going to be there or really love the wine. So I'm taking something like that I'm going to share with everybody, and then I'm also going to bring a couple bottles of red wine. Now the red wines for me, they're never light, they're never playful, they're never high acid. Keep your cake francoche at home. Disgusting. Kadarka for the birds. I'm bringing Bordeaux blends. I'll bring a Merlot only, a Cabernet Franc only, or a Bordeaux blend of those 2 plus Cabernet Sauvignon. Why? Because I want the wine to punch me in my face. I don't like these silly little red wines. Even if it's in the summer, I want something big and bold. You can always put your big bold red in the fridge for 15 minutes, chill it slightly, and make it a little bit more accessible on the palate. I get it if you're outside and it's 30 degrees, we're not bringing bold reds. But you know, the sun does go down. Later on in the night, it'll be 20 degrees, 15 degrees, maybe even we put a sweater on. Lucky us. Then you pull the big guy out and everyone's like, ooh, what's that? That's the beauty of bringing multiple bottles of wine as well. There's a wow factor when you're there that people are staring at your bag, wondering what's the next thing to come out of it. And I know what you're thinking. No one's staring at your bag. Schmike, you're living in your own world. Nobody cares what you brought. Well, you know what? We're in my world right now. So just play along with the fantasy. Yes, I believe that when I go to a party, people expect me to bring fun things to drink. And if they don't expect that, I expect that from myself. I want to be the best guest ever, and I want to be memorable. I want to make the party better than it was before I got there. And like a great wine, remember me long after it's over, okay? Anyways, I promised you the third way, which is probably the most economical. And it's just a condensed version of everything, okay? Give something to the host, bring a wine for everybody else, and bring a special thing that you walk around with and you can share with your friends, okay? Somewhere in the middle is the sweet spot. So let's get to my favorite, well, one of my favorite stories about wine. And I have to say before we get into this, I haven't verified. I met the owner of this winery one time. He came in late to the bar. I had no idea who he was. And he looked up and he goes, "That's a really good wine up there." And I'm like, "That is a really good wine." And he goes, "That's my wine." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I'm not going to tell you the winemaker, but if I tell you the story and you know who it is, drop a little comment in the bottom. We obviously don't want to out people for potentially breaking the law. But again, I don't know if this is storied. That's the beauty of legend and lore. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but it's a good story. There's this winemaker that I know from North Balaton. Now, North Balaton is one of the best winemaking regions in all of Hungary, especially a place called Badacsony. Badacsony makes world-class volcanic wine. Usually it's Olasz Riesling, which means Italian Riesling, not Italian, not a Riesling. Thanks, Hungarians. It means Welsh Riesling. Again, a bit of a misnomer. What you need to remember is the Romans owned everything. The Romans drank a lot of wine. Wherever the Romans went, they took vines with them. Welsh Riesling is a Roman varietal that they brought with them. So in this part of the world, Central Eastern Europe, you'll find it everywhere. Thanks, Romans. Appreciate it. So Badacsony, Olasz Riesling is king. So we're thinking like lemon and lime, maybe even some stone fruit if it's a little bit older or it's been on the vine a while. And then sea breeze minerality, a saltiness that kind of like wafts his way through the wine. It's absolutely fantastic. What about red wine? They don't really make a lot of red wine in Badacsony. I mean, they do, but they're usually kind of these like lighter, not so great wines because the Hungarian varietals that they love, Kadarka, Cake Francos, even Cabernet Franc, which is not their varietal, but it's terrific. These are lighter versions that I don't think always hit, you know? And I think if you're a winemaker in a smaller region and you want to make it, I think it's fantastic for you and your friends. But there's this weird thing when you're in a wine region, you're making the wine, you're drinking the wine, you're there. We talked about this before. Your mindset goes to a wonderful place and the setting is beautiful. You tend to like everything. And I think people who make cool climate red wines in Hungary kind of feel like, oh, look at the beautiful Balaton, the sunset's coming down. Man, every wine's gonna taste good, but you know, give it to me on a cold winter night, you know, when I'm home and I come back after a hard day's work, it doesn't hit the same. So I'm dubious at best of cool climate red wines in Hungary. Now, what if I told you this winemaker was so strategic, was so thoughtful, he knew there was a red wine varietal that the world loves. He knew it. He knew it because everybody knows it, to be honest. But he knew it was illegal. So imagine this. You're a winemaker in Badacsony. You want to bring in one of the world's most famous wine varietals, but the local government, the wine, you know, authorities, as it were, says, you can't, it's illegal. What would you do? Kiskapu. We're going to find the little gate. So the winemaker I know, apparently he wanted to bring in Sangiovese, but it's illegal. So what did he do? Now again, I cannot corroborate this. I do not know if it's true, but I do know this shit is gangster, and I hope he did it. Apparently, the winemaker called up someone who owned a nursery of vines or had clones. Anyways, he got these small vines that were Sangiovese and he planted them. Now, when he ordered it, he couldn't say, put Sangiovese in the paper. So he said, hey, you know, when you're writing me the invoice, can you please put Olasz Riesling on there? And the guy who did it was like, yeah, but it's not Olasz Riesling. And he goes, yeah, I know, but, you know, it doesn't matter what you guys write, a Hungarian thing. You know what I mean? Like, we write our own names on stuff. In fact, Olasz Riesling means Italian Riesling, like you guys. Not even Italian or Riesling, so we're just funny with our words. So if you could put Olasz Riesling on there, that'd be great. No problem, mate. Here's your vines. Here's your invoice. Good luck with the Sangiovese. Now, if you don't know anything about winemaking, It takes 5 years when you plant a brand new vine before the fruit you produce is good enough to make wine, okay? This dude bought the vines semi-illegally. Well, he bought them legally, but he kind of fibbed about what they were. Took the vines, planted them, waited. He didn't wait 1 year. He didn't wait 2 years. Get to the end. He waited 5 years. He waited 5 years until the fruit was really good. And then he did something you might not see coming. He called the cops. He called the people in charge of certifying wine here. It's a certification called NEBI. Called NEBI in and said, oh my God, I've been hoodwinked. I've been hornswoggled. I don't know if that means taken advantage of, but that's what I'm trying to say. He brought them in and he goes, you won't believe it. I bought these vines from these Italian guys 5 years ago. I planted them. I spent all this money because I wanted Olas Riesling, because that's what we planted. Look, it says it on the invoice. I wanted Olas Riesling, but they gave me Sangiovese. This is going to ruin me. It's going to ruin me. I can't cry like on command, so I can't act, but I think he might have. Or not. Actually, Hungarians are quite stoic. He probably said, it says Olas Riesling, but is Sangiovese. He probably did better than that. Either way, somewhere in between, he said, I've been taken advantage of. I planted all these vines. If I can't make this wine and you tell me to dig it up and throw it out, I will have to close. And you guys know me. I have a small vineyard. I make great wine, And the NEBI guys, again, I don't know what they said. I don't even know if this is true, but this is what I assume they said. They went, oh no. Oh, what a gross error. Oh, what a hilarious misunderstanding. We're going to let you do it anyways. Now, I don't know what the police said, but let me tell you what I think they said. They probably looked at the paper and go, Olas Riesling. It's not Olas Riesling. And he would have said, yes, I know. I just explained that. It's not that. It's Sangiovese. And they'd go, Sangiovese is red. This is white. And again, he'd go, totally aware, guys. I know Olas Riesling. I make it all the time. I know Sangiovese is a grape. I'm a winemaker. I just don't understand the vines. And they go, this. And he'd go, exactly. That's what I'm explaining. Please don't shut me down. And then another 5 hours of deliberating and talking about things that we've already covered is what I assume happened. And in the end, I bet the guys from NEBI went, not same. Okay, don't do it again. And then I bet they left. I bet they probably had a palinka and then they left. But I think this is probably what happened because what I know is he took the Sangiovese and he started making it and it's one of the best in the country. Well, it's probably one of the only, not the only Sangiovese in the country. But let me tell you, it's so elegant. It's so beautiful. It's so juicy. It makes me like elegant, lighter-bodied wines that have structure and finish and minerality. It makes me like that. I'm a Bordeaux man, but it makes me like that. That's how good this is, okay? They slammed the door in his face multiple times. The man knew, I can't do this, but I'm going to do this, and I'm going to see what happens. Listen, man, we need rebels in life. This is a great example of a rebel in winemaking who says, you know what? If I can't find a way, I'm going to make a way. And the only reason we're talking about this is because he got away with it. There's probably other people who take chances and don't get away with it, okay? Here's to the rebels of the world. Cheers to you. And if you know the Sangiovese, buy it. It's amazing. If you don't know it, come to the bar. I've got it at the bar. I will tell you the story again, and we can look at the bottle and we can celebrate everything that he does. This really reminds me of a quote that's been bouncing around a lot. People are jealous of what you've got, not how you got it. Okay? People love, the great body, the great car, the YouTube channel. God, all I do is watch people with great YouTube channels and I go, I want that. And what it boils down to is, okay, I got to do what they did to get it. We all want to be the winemaker who's got the wonderful wine. Do you want to be a farmer? Do you want to go and prune in the middle of January and February in the ice cold when you could be inside by the fire drinking a nice Bordeaux blend? No, of course you don't want to do that. I thought I wanted to be a winemaker until I remembered you have to farm the grapes. Even after I learned you can buy the grapes, and I was like, oh no, then you got to press them, you got to punch down, you got to bottle. I like drinking wine, okay? So here's something I'll say. When you're drinking a wine, you're drinking an entire year's worth of work. And I know that's a pretty heavy thing to say, but we're not just swirling this delicious fruit juice around, giving it a whiff and then putting it down. Somebody took an entire year. Now, are there poorly made big batch wines that no one cares about and there's not a lot of hands-on? Yeah. Is there a lot of hands-on wine that's also not that great? There's a lot of that. But there's a lot of handcrafted wine where people do everything they can to make it as good as possible to share with you. So I just want you to be a little bit more thoughtful when you drink, okay? It's always okay to say, hey, for what it is, okay. And then dump it out and move on to something you like. I'm not saying you gotta drink shit wine. I'm just saying give people who make the wine a little bit of credit. Give them a little bit of dues. You know what I mean? They deserve it. They work really hard. But so do you. So enjoy life. Don't drink shit wine. You know what I mean? And if you can't find a way, make it. Kiskapu. Break the law. Don't get caught. Don't listen to me. I don't know if any of what I've just said is true. I only know my experiences. I'm a big-time wine advocate. I'm a wine drinker. I love communities. I love people. And I love making videos. So come back. Watch more with me.